I try not to drive one car all the time. I mean, I only have like 6, 7 cars.
In the pits.
He's on pit road with big-time problems. They want a bigger hammer, BP. That's never good.
On his private plane.
I don't know, flying commercials is kind of a pain in the ass sometimes.
And hanging out with NASCAR's band of the moment 3 doors down. Leeann Tweeden is going to bring you an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the fastest-growing sport in the country.
These are some of the best bands in the world!
And the man who's worshipped by millions.
Ah, Junior!
This is VH1 All Access, NASCAR Fever. It's a 7-day-a-week operation, and it all starts in Mooresville, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte.
When I first moved here, it wasn't nothing but a stoplight. Now it's pretty big.
Oh, yeah!
I'd say 90% of the race teams are here, and 90% of the drivers live here. This is the kind of the home, or the race city, as they call it.
Second only to football in television ratings and the largest spectator sport in America, NASCAR racing attracts corporate cash faster than any other sport. And with increased TV exposure, the popularity of stock car racing is going through the roof. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is one of NASCAR's rising stars and a fan favorite. He's third-generation NASCAR royalty, groomed for stock car superstardom since he was a kid.
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday. It's a great sport. I love it to death. It's all I've ever known, racing.
My grandfather, Ralph Earnhardt, drove for years, was considered maybe the best on dirt there ever was. Then my father, Dale Earnhardt, everybody knew him as the Intimidator, Man in Black.
No one has won more races at Daytona International Speedway than Dale Earnhardt.
He was a 7-time champion. He was the Intimidator because the competitors out there knew if he was coming, he was coming. You can either try to keep him behind you or you can get out of the way. And if you tried to keep him behind you, he would do everything he could to get around you.
He was like the alpha man of NASCAR. He was, the grand thing, the head dude. Everybody listened to him. He was the best. And I consider him the best ever. And I think a lot of other people do, too.
In the 2001 Daytona 500, racing lost a legend when Dale Earnhardt crashed on the last lap in turn 4 of the race.
Miss him every day, think about him all the time. He's always going to be part of me. He's always going to be influencing the decisions I make the rest of my life. And I'm proud of him, proud of myself, proud of what he's made of me, up to this point.
Dale Jr. is determined to continue his father's legacy.
Him and his daddy before him were champions, and I feel like, being an Earnhardt, I can be a champion too, and I can be the best. One day they'll consider me better than he was, better than my grandfather, maybe. I don't know, but that's what I'm aiming at.
It's a tough act to follow, and despite his pedigree, Dale Jr. has not been given a free pass on the racetrack.
It took me a long time in the sport to get credit because I was an Earnhardt. And when I ran good or won a race, the opinion was largely because I had the best car, or I could afford the best stuff, or I had the best people. And I agree, I got the best equipment, I got the best people, but I'm in there turning the wheel. It's something that you definitely takes years and years of practice and years of nerve and determination to get good at. It ain't just something you just jump in, hey, I'm a great race car driver. Didn't know it, because it just takes a lot of concentration to be able to run. Run 180 mile an hour, 190 mile an hour, and you drive into the corner as far as you can go without slamming into the wall. You can't back off. You can't take it easy because somebody's going to beat you. There's 43 of us out there, and you got to be able to do it harder and faster and run quicker than anybody else.
Week in and week out, Dale Jr. competes against the best of the best in a series of races all over the country. Each year, the top driver in the series wins NASCAR's biggest prize, the Winston Cup.
I enjoy most of the people that I race against, but there's a lot of guys that I have personality conflicts with, and that's the guys that I love to beat. When you're on the racetrack with people for 4 hours a day, you're going to run into them.
They're banging into each other at 190 miles an hour.
they're not always going to do everything you want them to do. If you're really irritated with a guy, you can just kind of put a wheel to him and tell him, look, that's kind of like the warning. Look, man, you know, you're pushing my buttons here. Passing somebody, driving away from them, you know, just putting them in your mirror and just driving off. That's the big thrill. Of course, if you win the race, I mean, that's the ultimate goal each week.
At 200 miles per hour, the risks are as intense as the adrenaline rush. In every NASCAR race, there will be mishaps that cannot be predicted.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the wall, caution flags out.
This one right here is the whole side, entire side off the car. Blew a right front tire going into turn 1 in Kansas, probably 180 mile an hour. Right front tire blows out. When that happens, you're pretty much going straight into the wall.
You all right, Junior?
But I try to slow the car down, but when the tire's flat, the brakes normally get tore off or brake lines get broken. Car hits the wall probably 130 mile an hour.
Boy, when it happens fast.
These two here on top are off of our Daytona car. This piece right here, I was running second in Darlington, South Carolina, 3 wide going down into turn 1. I was on the outside. The 2 guys on the inside got into each other, slid up into me. That's all his tire marks and stuff, and then just damage, you know.
And, oh, that's it. I'm telling you, that is a brutal hit.
You can't have a definite fear of injury or death, but you have to have a respect. You know, you got to have a level of respect. You can't be a fool and be out there just throwing caution to the wind.
Yet Dale Jr. wouldn't be good if he didn't take risks. And when those risks pay off...
And this is a celebration that's going to go on for a while.
He leaves the track with the trophy, the check, and the car he drove. Coming up, building race cars inside Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
We have probably anywhere from 15 to 18 cars total. We have cars that'll go to short tracks. We'll have cars that'll go to mile tracks.
3 Doors Down makes Dale Jr. a music video star.
That's actually harder than I expected it to be, but it was a lot of fun being in it.
Went out there and recorded that down in Charlotte and had a good time doing that.
And he makes them a race car.
The band is going to be plastered all over the car, as you can see.
And later, it's race weekend at the Michigan International Speedway. The party reaches dangerously high speeds when all-access NASCAR fever continues.